This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
It's hard. You know, think about this. It's hard to do the right thing all the time. Yet, whether it was finding a playbook from the opponent and returning it and not wanting to look at it, that was Don Shula. Assistant coach finds a playbook. I think it was the Chiefs playbook, if I'm correct. And it was like, hey, we found a playbook. And he's like, I don't even want to look at it. Don't open it. Put it in an envelope and send it right back right away. That was Don Shula. You know, he wanted things done the right way. And in this world, you know, I always have fun with this. I always point out how perfect Tim Tebow and Russell Wilson are, right? Because I envy them. I mean, there's no way I could ever be like those guys. I could never be as perfect as those guys. I could never handle situations, every situation, as perfectly as those guys. And Don Shula was that guy. The guy that knew how to handle everything pretty much the right way. Hard to find those kind of individuals. Those are the people you admire. And that's why today, when you're watching, you know, ESPN and you're watching the NFL Network, the guy they're going to be celebrating, the guy they're going to be talking a lot about is going to be Don Shula because of the groundwork he laid, the perfection. His perfection wasn't just his 72 record. Okay? His perfection was the way he carried his life and the way he demanded what he got from himself, what he demanded from others. And there's a reason why that organization got to the point where it was. Those of us that grew up with it, we grew up with a great organization. We grew up with pride, you know, because even your opposing fans growing up, even if they hated you, you know, they respected you because of that dude. Because when you know that dude does things the right way, you can't fight it. You can't argue it. You can diss Belichick, right? Because there's all these question marks. Even though he's the great and the GOAT and all that and the 6 titles and a couple as an assistant and all that, but he's got Deflategate, he's got Spygate, he's got all those things. None of that's ever tied to Shula. You'd never be able to ever tie anything like that to Shula because Shula would not have any of that kind of stuff involved in his organization. He didn't want even the sheer doubt to be there. Forget an accusation, forget any proof. He didn't even want any kind of doubt to be associated with anything he did. Do you know how difficult that is? Do you know how tempting it is in sports to try to get an edge on anything and everything that you're doing? And they all do it nowadays. And they're all trying to get some kind of an edge. That dude was cut from a different cloth. That guy did it the right way all the time. And he tried to teach his players, even though I'm sure it wasn't easy, and I'm sure he wasn't successful because you're not going to reach everybody. Everybody doesn't want to be reached, as you all know in today's world. When you're dead set in your thinking, you're going to go down that path. And Don Shula never went down the other path. He went down the right path. You know, it's hard for all of us. We all veer off to the wrong path at one point or another. We do something we regret. We say something we regret. And because we're not perfect. We're human beings. This is a dude that is pretty close to perfect in his own right, which is pretty tough in that kind of environment that's as cutthroat as it gets.
One of my favorite stories, the older players talking about him having them practice how they stand for the national anthem. They would even practice that. That's how, like, this guy from the time you hit the field, perfection. You look like a football player. You conducted yourself, you know what I mean, in a certain way. And to hear them old players talk about, we were standing out there for a half an hour, 40 minutes, how we held our helmet and standing on the sideline for the national anthem, practicing that, literally.
Yeah. Yeah.